All right, just a quick rundown. Today we were able to add 19 young men and their families into the Louisiana culture. It's guys that we're really excited about. A lot of them have been committed to us, since the summer. Added a couple along the way, including one a day. So, a really good day for us. All 19 of these guys have multi-sport backgrounds. They played multiple sports for their high school and have in their past. 15 of these 19 guys made the playoffs in their senior year. 4 of them are still playing. And to us, I think it's important that you recruit guys from winning programs and know what it feels like to win. We have 2 mid-years with Jacoby Isom and Darrell Smith. So those are guys that we'll be adding here shortly. Out of those 19, we have 6 young men from Louisiana. Trenton Cheney from Lutcher, Russell Babino from right here in Acadiana, Jaden Gloston at U-High, Cam Riley from Neville, Brent Gordon at Cecilia, and Stephen Rennell, safety from Central and Baton Rouge. So 7 young men are from Texas. We have 3 from Alabama and 3 from Mississippi, which is typical. It's all high school kids for us, especially in the early signing period, which is our plan was to replace our outgoing seniors with freshmen. And then you build it back up from there. Really didn't go out of our footprint this year, didn't have to, didn't need to. And that's something that's exciting too. It means that we're doing a great job. We're owning our areas and we're finding, turning every stone over and flipping over every rock to find the guys that fit us. So really excited about these guys. A really good group, and it's a group that I'm proud that we were able to get, pen to paper with, and can't wait to get them here.
How likely is it that before, like the bowl game or before you start the actual transfer portal process, that you could sign some more?
There's probably one potentially that we may get. He's still kind of working through some things, so trying to figure that out. Naturally, I can't comment on who it is and all that stuff, but yeah, there's one right now that we do have our scholarship agreement papers out too, and we're hoping he picks the Cajuns.
I'm seeing quite a few wide receivers, defensive backs. Was that focus areas, or is that where the talent was?
Well, both. For us at DB, we're not losing a bunch of defensive backs this year, but you get to next year, and we got quite a few of them walking out the door. So needed to get some guys in here in our program so that, we have some good young DBs that are here right now, but you got to keep kind of replenishing. And I think with a bunch of these guys come back that have a year left, this gives them an opportunity to grow in the system. If they can play early, that's great. Obviously, that's really good for all of us. But if not, they have time to develop and grow. At wide receiver, we're losing some this year. Naturally, you got, Cambry and Lance and Tavion, Jake. You got all those guys walking out the door this year. So there was a need there as well. Again, we feel really good about what we have here currently. But for us, last year we added Raji Dennis at Z. Really like the way he's developing in that role. And Trenton Cheney and Russell Babino are kind of those types of players, And so something that a little bit unique skill set that we maybe hadn't had here in a while. So for us, we really like kind of the way it's developing with him and where he's going. And we felt like, you want 2 or 3 of each different body type in that room. I think it's both. I think they're really good players, but certainly it was positions that we felt like we needed to, get some young guys in there so we can get them in here and start moving.
You had mentioned Russell a little bit more about him. When you were looking at him, what are some of the things that you saw that kind of just jumped out off the screen and off the page when you were seeing him?
I mean, every time he touches the ball, it's every time he touches the ball, it's a highlight, and I love that kid because he's a team first kid. The more you get to know him, as soon as you sit down, the first conversation I sat down and had with him was like, man, this is too good to be true. He's an unbelievable player. He's electric. He'll do anything you ask him to do. He'll return a kick. He'll run a reverse. He'll get in the backfield. You throw it. It doesn't matter what you ask him to do. He'll do it. He's electric with the ball in his hands. He's hard to square up, hard to get on the ground. But man, when you spend some time with this kid off the field, it's like on another level, incredibly mature, polite, positive. He's as good of a human as you're going to get to. It's sometimes these things feel too good to be true, and he's one of them, man. You pair that tape with what you see on tape to the person that he is, this guy's a home run. We're proud to be able to keep him at home.
What about Brent from Cecilia, the other local kid?
That guy's one hell of a football player. He's a guy who was coming off of shoulder surgery last year. So coming out of spring, his tape was really good. We're like, man, just want to kind of see how his shoulder heals up and get him back on the track. And well, we started getting through spring, and every time you watch the tape, every time you spend some time with them and you go back and watch it over again, you're like, man, we gotta try to get this thing done. And I got to go see him play this year when they played Opelousas, and I mean, he had 21 tackles, I think, in the game. I mean, every time he was at receiver and they threw the ball to him, it was a catch. It was an explosive, a touchdown. He's a guy that, he's a winner. He is a winner. He is a tough, gritty competitor, and that's what you want. The guy's got a bunch of ability. I told early on, I said, man, he reminds me of Braylon Trahan a little bit. Just a savvy football player that, Braylon's senior highlight, I say this all the time, is one of the best ones I've ever seen. Fortunately, we didn't wait till November to try to get this guy. We figured it out a little sooner, so we're fortunate we did that. But, his tape is unbelievable. He came to camp, worked out at camp, killed it at camp. We watched him in 7-on-7 over here for an entire day. I don't know if I think he took 3 plays off the entire day. Offense, defense, everything. Again, he's another guy. Whatever you need him to do for the team, he'll do it. I think he brings a bunch of position flexibility for us. As a safety, he could play star, he could play free, tackles well enough to play bandit. I think he could play corner if he had to. It's just the kid's a winner, and you got to love people that love to play football. Like, that's got to be a prerequisite to this thing. If you don't love it, it's too hard. It's too much work. And this dude, he just loves to play football. And great family. They've been awesome the whole way through. And he was one of those kids. It's real fun whenever you get some guys like that. Whenever you offer them, you can tell how excited they are to get an offer from the University of Louisiana. And he was thrilled. And those things matter to me too. This kid, he was fired up whenever we offered him. He committed to us, and he's been, lighting it up on the field, and it's been great ever since.
It seems like National Signing Day is getting moved up sooner and sooner in the year. Is that easier for you? Would you rather have them kind of signed earlier in the season so you can focus on what's going on now? Or are you okay with where their signing day is?
Well, they ask us our opinions on a lot of things, and then you end up getting this on championship week. So, they asked us if we were in favor. I was in favor of an earlier signing day, like all the other sports have. We talked about maybe having one like the first week in July, right when it goes dead after summer camps, because that's when most kids are making their decisions, for the ones that know. So that way they got it, they're out of the way. So that's kind of what we talked about. And then we get back and this is what we got. So doesn't matter if it's easier or not, it's just kind of what you are. We're fortunate to be playing this week. So, we're not going to complain about having, getting to play this week and having signing day for sure. We have a little bit of history with this. More times than not in my career, we've been at a bowl game with signing day going on at the same time. So, we've got some history in this. It is what it is. I'm excited we got these guys inked, so if we'd have done it earlier, it'd have been great. If we had to wait another 2 weeks, you'd be holding on to your rear end trying to get them there. But, the idea behind it is that what I was told is that they wanted to do this so that guys could sign high school guys before the portal opens and then figure out after, which I think is BS. I think you're going to sign who you sign. I think, you have a philosophy. And if you're a big portal team, you're going to take those guys anyway. And if you like to sign high school kids, you're going to take them anyway. So, it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it being earlier. I think it's a tough week to do it right now, but it's good to be in this position, and it's good to have to deal with it.
How dual threat quarterback is Cole?
He can really run. So we went to camp in Mississippi, and they had 2 other guys that were there that I was there to evaluate, that we'd evaluated that we liked, but I was there to watch them and didn't know anything about them. And you're out there and the guy just keeps showing up. Ball's jumping out of his hand. You watch him do drills. His footwork is really good. Watch him communicate, things like that, confident, just ripping the ball around the yard. So after the camp, talking to him, all this stuff. And, just obviously was really impressed. It's hard when you go to a camp with 600-700 kids for someone to stand out. Typically the ones about, you're there to see. And then it's kind of hard to stand out in a crowd like that. And he did. And so talking to him after, find out his family is from Louisiana. They're from the North Shore area. I want to say Covington, but they're from the North Shore area. He really wanted to play in Louisiana. So we're talking a little bit and talking about trying to get him to come down here, which they said wouldn't be a problem. And then he's like, well, he's like, have you watched my tape yet? I said, no, I haven't. I said, I was here to watch, this guy, that guy. And he's like, Coach, the best part of my game is with my feet. So then I was like, all right, well, here we go. So then you go back and watch it. I mean, yeah, he ran a 4.5 for us over here. Runs really well. He's really elusive. He's a loose athlete. I mean, he can make you miss. It's not just straight line fast, but he's got really good arm strength. He's a guy that you're really excited about getting over here. I think it's a good fit in the room. You get Lunch, who's a dual threat guy. You get Daniel, who's more of a pocket guy. And then you get another one behind him that's more of a dual threat. I kind of like having it stacked a little bit with different skill sets, I think we can win with anyone, whichever plays best for us. I think we can create offense and we can do some things within our offense that suits them. But yeah, I mean, it's him running the ball and his elusiveness probably is the best part of his game. And like I said, I was really impressed with the way he threw it.
Is there, not knowing yet, obviously, who might leave after the bowl game, is there a position that you're probably more likely to address, a position or two in the transfer portal after you sign?
Yeah, potentially on the defensive line, we have a couple spots there that we don't have filled, particularly inside, interior D-line. You got Ashton coming back, who we're really excited about, but Maxie has kind of moved a little bit more like to a 3 technique end. He's kind of developed into that physically. Fitzgerald's he's kind of a chameleon. He can kind of play. He can play nose. But you don't want him to live in that world all day. But he does a really good job as a shade or a 3. So we probably need a little bit, another guy or two on the interior D line. With Kyron Mims and Kadarius coming out of here. But other than that, not really. No, you don't know what's going to happen. We're going to fight like hell to keep these guys here that are on our team. Reality of it is, you lose people every year, some that you don't want to, some that is probably best for them to do that if that's, if they want other things. But at the end of the day, it's say this all the time. There's a quote and it says, perseverance isn't a long race. It's many short races, one after the other. You just have to run the race that's in front of you every day. And, if you sit here, you're worried about these things that you can't control. Don't get me wrong. We're getting in front of it and we're having conversations with guys that, we know have some options out there. But you can't get consumed with that stuff. You got to run the race that's in front of you. You got to run it really well. And then whenever that's over, you go to the next one. So, we ran this race, ran it really well. We're going to continue to get ready to go run this race this week, go win this game. And then, we'll get ready for the portal after that. And then we'll get ready for a bowl game. We know where that is. So it's just, if you constantly worrying about things that you have no control over, then you're going to lose sight of the things that you can. And for us, it's, there's a lot that we can control right now that we really want to control and really want to do well because the kids that are here right now deserve that.
Got time for one more.
Rendell, he has some big play potential. Talk about him.
Tremendous athlete, size, speed, length, 6'1" plus kid that can really run. Came to camp, ran really well for us. Movements were great. We loved him at camp. We'd offered him at camp. We just didn't know if we were going to be able to take a safety. So truthfully, we kind of ended up, we'd offered him and then we had some guys commit and we were trying to figure out numbers and had a couple of things this year that happened where we said, we need another safety and he's absolutely the one for us. So went back and, basically told him, look, we're going to be able to take one. We'd love for it to be you. Unfortunately, our coaching staff did a good job continuing to recruit him. He's a great kid. But he's like one of those guys. I think he told him this, with him and his mom, they were like, why is he a good fit here? And I said, because I've seen us succeed with guys like you so many times. He's a size, speed athlete that, his junior tape is that you see things on there, but his summer, like you could see, man, he's coming on his own. And now his senior year, I mean, if you watch it from week 1 to now, he's played better every single week. I mean, and yeah, you talk about big plays. They have him back there returning punts and kicks. He plays receiver when they need him to. He plays corner. He'll play whatever he needs to play. I mean, so he's another one of these guys that has a lot of versatility. But these Percy Butler, guys, they're long, they're fast. You don't maybe know what they are at first, but the more you watch it, you're like, man, this guy's something for us, right? Percy, we took Percy thinking maybe he was a corner. And he got here and it was like, no, he's going to be a safety for us. And I mean, from day one, the guy was an impact player, but he's size, speed, length, and his best ball was played at the end of his high school career. And so I think Steven reminds me of that a whole lot. His coaches over there at Central have been great the whole time. Some of those guys we know really well. And, they were high on him from the beginning. They're like, elite person, won't get a better person than him, won't get a better worker than him. And they said it. They were like, his best is ahead of him. And I think, I certainly agree. I've seen it. The guy plays better every week. For us, that's kind of the beautiful thing about getting to work kind of one class at a time a little bit is that you get to see what they're becoming. Sometimes you have to offer these guys real early. Well, sometimes they don't continue to develop like you think they will. Especially with some, positions, they don't grow like you think they will. We get to recruit them at the best point, right when they're finishing their junior year. I mean, a lot of these guys are young. Some of them are still 16 years old. So, they're not even close to what they're going to be, and they're trending up at a really fast, high level. That's what you want, right? You want guys that are peaking, or hopefully not even peaked yet, but trending up as they get to you. And I think that's what, to me, that's what's exciting about Steven is that I think his best ball, he's just playing better every week that you watch it. And he's another one of those young guys that's going to be, I think he's got a chance to come in here and be a great player for us.